Take a moment before what I'm about to say.
Okay.
Because remember, stick is in the vaginal canal.
Right. I've already lost where we're at, except the one in the mouth.
I'm surprised that you're stuck on the mouth. Hello, and welcome to Say Smut, a literary podcast for readers and non-readers. This is usually the part where Hope says, that's Sarah, she loves books. And then I say, that's Hope, she loves talking to me about books. But Hope had to have a week off for some stuff going on. But we have another great guest here today that you all have met once before on an unfortunate episode involving some lamps. Or a lamp. Today we have Maddison Tuttle joining us. Thank you so much for stepping into co-host territory.
Sarah, thank you for having me back after what I'm sure was your worst ranked episode,
No.
the last one I did. So
No, I don't think you could have a bad episode with sentient college male romances with sentient lamps is what I was trying to get at. But there are so many factors. I mean, there were drugs, there was electrocution, there were I'm trying to think, there was like a lot of angst in it too.
That I do recall. I think I have purposefully blacked out most of what that book contains, but I do remember the angst.
Angsty college boys with taking erection medications. But today, we have quite the lineup for you. Before I get into it, though, I need to ask what you're reading or what you have been reading.
Okay, right now I'm reading Madonna in a Fur Coat, which is a Turkish love story set in Berlin in the lead up to World War II. If you love a man who yearns, this is it.
I'll take it.
This is the one. I'm only like halfway done, but I already know that I'm going to be very upset by the end. So.
Oh, no. You think it's going to be like not gratifying?
No, I think it's going to be like a tragic love story. Because it's one of those that the book starts, at the end.
Oh.
And then we flash back.
Okay. And then you get attached.
Right.
Got it. So what was it called again? Madonna in a
Fur Coat.
Okay.
Yes.
I'm adding it to the list. But today you can add to the list SPF Me by Holly Wilde.
Wow, this feels appropriate for me in Florida.
It does.
Yeah.
It's a summer read. It's only like 65 pages-ish. For our listeners, you may recall we had Holly Wilde a couple of months ago for Hope's birthday when it was the Birthday Bear episode. So I know I'm pulling another Holly Wilde out of my hat. I just thought this was so appropriate because it's summer and, you get in the sun and you need some protection.
It's true.
Who are you going to call? Sunscreen.
No, I'm already sold. It's a perfect summer read.
Okay, well, I'm going to give some content warnings, and the only one is sexual content. But I am going to be so descriptive because I have to be. For the science of this, I absolutely have to be. All right? This book on Storygraph has a 3.0 and on Goodreads has a 2.93. If you want a refresher on our author, Holly Wilde, I will give you her brief bio from Goodreads. It says, quote, "Too often we feel the need to explain ourselves. Society as a whole, but especially women, have been raised on the idea that we have to justify our emotions and explain our every action. That's not how I live my life, and that's not how I write my books. I create the world of Wilde around that principle and began crafting carefree sans drama stories for readers to fully immerse themselves into." And then it says, if you're looking to escape the boundaries of reality that we are so often confined to, then look no further. Sentient, smutty smut, and literal personification of everyday items is what you'll find here. So,
I can get behind that. I feel like it's a good kind of personal mission statement.
I love it. it. So are you ready to dive in?
I'm going to say yes because I don't think I have an option.
No, you've already committed. You've already promised you were going to be here for this episode.
I feel like your listeners should know that I was given zero idea of what the book would be.
Mhm.
which I appreciate. So I'm going in totally blind. So that'll be
There's no
fun.
need. I don't
Yeah.
need to tell you shit. You are my hostage. I contacted you 2 or 3 hours ago to be
Yeah.
on this podcast.
I dropped everything.
Yes,
Yeah.
and all those plans you had that were not sentient related in
Right.
any way. And now you get to have an evening with us. And I will say that there's a warning at the beginning of the book that says, quote, "This is a story where the smut is the plot. If you're looking for something substantial, you won't find it inside these pages." So plot, throw it right out the window.
Yeah. I'm glad you
Okay.
picked your prudish friend. For this one.
Prudish?
Yeah,
I wouldn't describe
that's
you
how
as prudish.
that's how I'm self-describing.
Self-identifying as a
I'm
prude.
self-identifying.
Put it on my resume. Okay. How seriously do you take your sunscreen,
I
Madison?
literally wear it every single day.
Oh yeah, no.
On my face every single day. If I'm going outdoors, and the sun is out and my arms are exposed, it's there. I'm reapplying every hour.
You also live in Florida, which is a whole
Right.
different UV situation.
Yeah,
Than us.
somehow this isn't, scientific, but I think the sun is somehow more intense.
Yeah. I feel like I need to tell the listeners that one time I came down and visited you, and like we went to Orlando to Disney.
Yeah.
And I was like, it's 85. Like, yeah, I'm gonna wear a tank top and shorts or a dress, whatever I wore that day. But I was thinking it's 85. It's just 85.
Right.
And the way I wilted and died. And Maddison was like, yeah, this happens. Like, you were just like, this is just a different 85 than what it is in Iowa. It is a monster.
Yeah, it's horrible. It's fine. It's only like half the year where you can't go outside. So
yeah, I always used to say we went out to Arizona all the time, and like it's the desert, so it's like it's dry.
Yeah,
but it's still hot. And Grandma and Grandpa would be like, yeah, the winter time is when you can go out and enjoy it. Like the summertime is when you don't go out.
Exactly.
Okay, well, our main character, Summer, is really serious about sunscreen. She is like super prepared to go on her weekend trip with her friend Gianna. Okay. She recently invested in like a new arsenal of products to get her through the summer.
Yeah.
And it's by a company called Sentient Screen. Okay.
Okay.
It's organic and like nut based, and it's moisturizing and whatever. It's all the things that, the TikTok shop would get you on.
Non-toxic for the sea turtles.
Of course. Like recycled plastic, it's made out of some crazy bamboo product, right? Whatever it is. So she's got sunscreen sticks. She's got a spray bottle of sunscreen. She's got the zinc, cream bottle. But for today, while they are out at the pool, she pulls out SPF 69.
Of course. Okay? Yeah.
Before I go too far, Hope did hand over her research, because I did get curious about how we even started identifying like SPF and like whatever. So I'm just going to give a brief synopsis here, which is that like the ancient Greeks would put olive oil on their skin before and after sun exposure, which is kind of where it all got started. So before them, the ancient Egyptians protected themselves from the sun with stuff like rice bran and jasmine, but we wouldn't get proper sunscreen until like the late 1800s. We did get talking, her and I, through text about how much SPF is in olive oil. And after Googling, we did find it is between SPF 2 and 8.
I'm actually surprised it's above 0.
I know, right? So we didn't have the sun protecting factor ratings, which is what SPF stands for, until 1962. Okay. And all of this to say, like, they've obviously gotten better and better about using it. But the original ones in 1962, like, literally were SPF 2. Like, it wasn't doing shit.
Yeah.
Okay. But yeah, we've obviously gotten much better about it. And in the 90s, we started getting up to like 15 and 30. And now we've got more and strong stuff. I'm not going to go into all of her stuff because like I can't do it as well as Hope. And honestly, I want to get to the plot. So 69, an oddly specific number.
Sure.
But it's in a bright pink bottle with gold lettering. And of course, it looks phallic.
Yeah, it has to.
Yeah. And she's like, it's just really clever marketing on their part to get people talking about their product, which, sure, for sure.
We'll go with that. Yeah.
We'll go with that. And it smells like coconut, ginger, and bergamot with just a hint of jasmine and vanilla, which I feel like is a lot of smells
I was going to
happening.
say, that's like you took all the Bath and Body Works, like perfumes and like mixed them like a jungle juice.
Literally. It is like, you're just trying to get the rest out of the bottles.
Exactly.
Right?
Like put a little water in there. Yeah.
Water it down. Meanwhile, her friend Gianna opts for like the store brand regular SPF 30 stuff. But when she pulls it out, it's all gross and watery. And apparently it expired last year.
You got to look out for that.
Do we care that much about expiring?
Yeah.
Apparently, according to Hope's research, yes, we do, because it becomes less effective over time. So they say that sunscreen is required by the FDA to be sustained for at least 3 years before it starts expiring. So fun fact in there. I just thought that, I mean, like, yeah, I know that it like stops being as useful, but is it really that big? Like, if you're going to pull it out, are you going to stop using it?
I do. I'll throw it away.
Okay. Well, you're also from Florida, so.
I'm also incredibly pale. So it's really important that I, get the highest quality SPF 75.
That's fair. That's fair. I have to say the older I've gotten, the more strict I've gotten about like putting sunscreen on my face every single day, UVs, going up in a tin can in the sky when I'm on a plane and making sure that like I'm that close to the sun and need to have all my products on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's important. Okay. We're just old now.
We're just 30 now. It's just a thing. Okay. So the girls are girl tripping it up. All right. They're popping bottles. They're reminiscing about previous girls' trips when they shared a sexual partner with a giant penis. What we all do. I mean, you and I have been on girls' trips. We've definitely not done that. But they're like, should we go to a bar and try and bring somebody home with us tonight? Like, they're like talking about all the possibilities. Their conversation lulls into a game of would you rather. So, Maddison.
Yeah.
Would you rather have a monster drag you into the pool to ravage you or drag you into the lake? This is the first question they ask of each other.
I guess the pool, because it's probably more sanitary.
Exactly what I said too.
Yeah.
I know. I'm like, I don't even give a shit how many chemicals are in that thing. I would rather take that over a lake.
What's in the lake?
Also, if you live in Iowa or anywhere in the Midwest right now, let's talk about water quality.
That's a different podcast.
Hot button. You heard it here. Okay, next question. Would you rather have to always smell like monster jizz or wake up with the taste of monster spunk in your mouth for a whole hour each day?
I feel like you have to pick the second one. Okay. Right? Because then, like, you're messing with other people.
Yeah, I mean, I would agree. Gianna does ask a reasonable question. Yeah. If it's like, because if you've listened to our podcast enough, most monster jizz has different tastes and smells. So she's like, am I going to get like a candy flavor? Like, is it going to be a nice smell or taste? And Summer decides that it smells like coconut or it tastes like sunscreen.
And I'm like, a monster from Candyland.
Yeah, but like you're gonna take this smells like coconut. I don't want to taste sunscreen in my mouth for an hour every morning. No, I want to smell like coconut all day.
Yeah. Why is that even an option?
No,
they're horrible at this game.
No, Summer, you need to do better.
So why they're keeping their circle small because nobody else is participating in this.
They're like, we have very selective friendships who can handle these Q&As. So the sun finally gets to the girls and Gianna decides to head inside to take a nap while Summer decides to take a dip in the pool. She's like floating on her back for a while and she realizes it's time to reapply her sunscreen. So she swims over to the edge of the pool when she hears a man's voice, but she can't quite peg where it's coming from. Like, you know, she's looking around.
Right.
She's like, is there somebody over that hedge? Like in the other yard? Is there somebody, you know, like I can't quite figure out.
She has sun poisoning and is hearing voices.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So she thinks that she's imagined the voice until, quote, movement right in front of me catches my eye. I finally see where the voice is coming from. To my surprise, it's not just one hottie, but 4 hunks. And by the looks of it, they were waiting for me to get out of the pool, end quote.
You know what a fun little summer she's having. What a fun little time at community pool she's having.
I don't think it's a community pool. I think it's like an Airbnb situation.
Oh, okay.
And it's like there's a pool in the backyard before the lake.
Yeah.
And what do you think's going to happen next? If you were Holly Wilde, knowing what we do about Holly Wilde, what do you think's coming?
I think she's gonna try and play Would You Rather with them, and then they get so bored that they leave.
Them? Who's them?
The 4 hunks, the 4 men.
It's bold of you to assume that they're men.
I know they're not, but I'm gonna just suspend, my disbelief a little while longer.
Well, and I'm gonna have you suspend that disbelief because Summer just casually like crosses her arms at the edge of the pool and like, you know, on the pool concrete or like the concrete surrounding the pool and casually takes in the fact that her 4 brand new bottles of sentient screen are lounging on the lounge chair in front of her.
Sure.
It is Stick from the Stick sunscreen, Spray, the spray bottle, Zinc, the container of zinc, and SPF 69, which we will refer to as 69.
Okay. I'm
Previously, they were in her bag, and she had not set them out like that, and they also didn't have arms and legs and faces as they do now. But I want to emphasize they are still the same size.
Right.
They were before.
Okay.
They are still regular bottle sizes.
Yeah.
Okay. So she asks, what brought you to the party? And Zinc says, I'm pretty sure you did, gorgeous. And she asks, aren't you guys hot out here? To which 69 says, well, how cliche is that? Is it hot out here or is it just me? Babe, you know it's you. So you can drop the cheesy pickup lines and come join us. That's the tone we're going for.
I am already worried about Summer. I think she should also maybe go take a nap.
I think she should absolutely go take a nap. This seems concerning at this point.
Yeah.
Go get a Gatorade, you know?
Right. Like go cool off a little bit.
Yeah, go cool off. But this is the level of cheesiness I want you to know that is going to be the dialogue.
Yeah.
She clarifies that she didn't mean like the whole hot pickup line. She says, quote, that's not what I meant at all. Or sorry, that's not at all what I meant. And you know it. I just thought that being plastic, you would get hot and melt or something, which I'm like, girl, how many of us bring bottles out into the sun and they don't melt?
Yeah. Also, read the room. Look at a landfill. Why do you think we have so many problems?
Also, these are like naturally made sunscreens. You paid high end for these guys. So Spray Bottle responds, quote, the only thing melting today is going to be you as you quiver around my face.
It's kind of bold.
Bold. Like, no, all these men
like that.
All these men are so bold. Okay. I'm going to now give you physical descriptions.
Okay.
Spray Bottle apparently has the best body. Okay. And this is a direct quote. His label creases around him to create chiseled abs and stacked muscles for his pecs. The bottom of the filmy layer forms a heavily shadowed V carved like an arrow pointing down to a very tiny cock swinging in the wind with every step. Yes, they have their penises out.
Obviously they do.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm just like, I mean, these are just like the Beauty and the Beast household items, right? Like it's just a
precisely
face, it's just a face in a bottle.
Or right? I imagine, you know, like Schoolhouse Rock. I'm just a Bill with sunscreen.
That's exactly where my mind went when we were talking about this. I was like, yeah, it's the Bill from Schoolhouse Rock.
Or Clippy from, you know, from Word. word software. It's just big cartoonish eyeballs and arms, like stick arms and legs.
I wish Clippy was there.
Clippy should
as
be.
the comedic relief.
As the commentator. So she goes on to explain the rest of them. Stick has a boxier physique, and while not as like toned in the core as Spray, he does have like a super strong back. So I think of him as more of like a weightlifter, right?
Okay.
Zinc, I think I wrote Zinc wrong. Whoops. Is the most protective of the bunch. So now he's got kind of a dad bod going on. He's got like a little softness on him, you know?
Sure.
So as we know, 69 looks like a dick. Okay. Right. That's all we've got on him. But that doesn't stop all four of them from having very prevalent penises between their legs, just whipping around. Okay.
Sure.
And the cheesy pickup lines just keep going, including 69 insinuating that the pool was clothing optional and whispering in her ear, quote, "It's driving me crazy knowing that you're coated in me. I'd give anything to cover you again, babe." I just want to ask right now, how is he whispering in her ear? Can he reach her ear? Is it a weird, like, stretch?
Do you think he had to roll like a sea lion? You know, to like off the chair and down to the side of the pool?
I mean, they have legs. She says they have legs.
Yeah.
So he like probably jumps down. I know at one point they all like jump and cannonball into the pool, which I'm like, how little of a splash do you got? You know?
Yeah.
Weak game, in my opinion. Zinc apologizes for all their rowdy behavior because they've just been so bottled up. They remind her that they are called skincare for a reason, and they really want to take care of every inch of her. Okay?
I don't appreciate that they seem to receive pleasure from their work.
I mean, what do you mean?
Why can't they be more than a worker? They're just utilitarian.
They are allowed to have more in life than just working all the time.
It's an ick. It's an ick for me.
You don't want them to be passionate about their jobs. We just talked about annual reviews after, or like outside of this podcast. And I think that they are definitely going for what's the highest ranking you can get?
Like a
exceeds expectations. That's what I'm thinking of. Yeah, I think they're going for that right now.
Yeah.
Okay.
Customer service.
Yeah.
Customer service.
We have a short survey for you to do after this pool encounter. Can you give us all 5?
It'll only take us 5 minutes of your time.
It only takes, and we'll put you in the running. We'll put you in the running for some free sentient screen after this. So they use teamwork to collectively unlace her bikini top. By the way, they're all in the pool at this point. I should emphasize that.
Can they swim?
Yeah.
Okay.
They're sunscreen. They're around the pool all day. Okay. My cat, a quick aside, my cat really loves the door stoppers that are on springs.
Oh, that's
because
cute.
She likes to like, you can hear it in the background. Eloise, hey, cut it out. She's like, she just will find one and then we'll remember that they're a thing and then start like, you know, batting at them so that they like wiggle back and forth. It's so funny. Okay. We're going to jump back in.
Okay.
And so they use teamwork to get her bikini top off. And Zinc just goes straight in and starts motorboating her tits.
Sure.
Mm-hmm. Quote, Stick, 69, and Spray also hop on to the makeshift pool floaty of my buoyant tits. That's a direct quote right there.
Do you know, like, in the good old days of movies when they would do, like, little shorts, like, as the credits rolled?
Yes.
I feel like that in Shrek, this is like a sausage party if they did, like, a credit scene.
That's a great comparison.
Yeah.
So then she's like, hang on, boys. And she just starts bouncing her tits, which is apparently really enjoyable for them because they're all just riding her boobs.
Sure.
Do you remember, did you ever watch SpongeBob, the movie?
Obviously, yes.
Yeah, I figured. I put this reference in here specifically for Hope because she's a huge SpongeBob fan. But do you remember in the SpongeBob movie when David Hasselhoff like swims with Patrick and SpongeBob on his back and he's like a boat? So the group decides to get out of the pool, and in order to do so, they all hop on her back and she swims to the edge of the pool. So that's what I picture is
That's
the David
100%.
Hasselhoff.
Yes.
Absolutely. Once they get to land, they slide off her. And as they do, they grab her bikini bottoms and pull them down to take them off of her. And it kind of reminds me of the Copper Tone Kid logo, but like an X-rated version.
This is so like intertextual. Like this is such an intellectual like
read. It is so good. I'm trying to think of last week's episode. I'm just all of a sudden blanking right now.
Did it have a velociraptor?
No.
Was the letter V involved?
No.
It's like I'm on Sesame Street.
Yeah, you're just like, I'll guess it into existence. But we also had a bunch of stuff like that in our last one. It was Cold Sweat, which was the Kool-Aid Man.
The author's name started with a V.
Yes, Vera Valentine.
Right.
Congratulations, we got there.
We got there.
But there was a lot of references in that also were hilariously like very contextual. Like he had a job at a demolition like place, and it's like iconic. So yes, there's a lot of references, and I love authors that can do this. It's just fun. I mean, it's a short read, but it's going to be an entertaining one.
For sure.
Okay, so they watch as she drives off very seductively and sets up kind of a makeshift bed on the ground for them. And I'm going to wedge this quote in here just so you know how turned on she is by these little guys.
Yeah.
Quote, like lighthouse beacons calling in the sexy brigade, my nipples stand firm and erect.
I would like to actually write this book from the POV of her friend who happens to get up from her nap and look out the window.
Okay, I'm going to spoil something right now because I genuinely thought, because they talked about sharing a male sexual partner previously, I was like, she's going to come out and join because she put on the sunscreen.
Right.
After previously not being able to use the shitty store-bought kind. So I was like, she's going to come back in. Spoiler alert, she is not. Unfortunately, she never sees the light of day again from what we know. She's still sleeping. I don't know. So she reasonably asked them, how are we going to do this? What's the plan? Are we taking turns? Like one at a time? Logistics. I can go 4 rounds. Yeah. And also you have to remember they have very tiny penises.
Right.
Quote, they are so small that I can't blow them or even give them a ham job when their dicks are the size of my fingernails. Fucking may be out of the question too, but from the way they acted in the pool, I get the feeling they know exactly what they want to do. So, you've got 4 sentient sunscreen bottles.
They're like the Avengers teaming up.
No.
It's the same thing.
It's erotic Avengers. Poolside Avengers. So they are like, no, we're not civilized enough to wait our turns. We're just going to go all at once.
Sure.
I mean, it's not a huge weight to lift.
They're on the clock.
I mean. Yeah. So they all start kissing her skin, which she compares to butterfly kisses because they're so small and light. I should also explain that the facial features these characters are made around their bottles. So, for example, Stick's mouth is the crease between the cap and the bottle. So when he puts her nipple in her mouth, essentially imagine it like pinching on when putting on the cap.
Yeah.
Which is horrifying.
Yeah.
It is literal nightmare territory. I mean, you're just pinching your nipple on a bottle.
Right.
Couldn't be me. Sorry. I don't want to ever ick somebody's yum, but I'm very sensitive.
We're going to have to pause the podcast because Sarah needs to throw up really quick.
Hold on a minute. Let me go get some of my anti-nausea that I just got prescribed. It's so nice. If anybody wants anti-nausea, please go to your doctor. It's changed my life. Let me take one before every podcast now. No, it's not icking somebody's yum. I promise. It's more just like, I hate the feeling of like skin pinching. That is like, that's so terrible. Yeah. So the image of him just like closing his cap on her nipple is like, this is literally a war crime.
Like a horror movie for you.
No, it's like Texas Chainsaw Massacre, except for Florida Cap Massacre. Okay, so anyway, meanwhile, 69 reverse sucks her nipple into his dispense hole. Okay. So like
Sorry, I know this is an
face,
audio medium.
Madison's face just completely contorted.
There were no words to express.
Okay, so you know it's a bottle that's going to squeeze out, right? So if you have ever like reversed, like tried to get air back into the bottle.
I cannot say I have tried that. No.
Sorry, I'm making myself sound really dumb. I promise I'm not being that stupid. But you know, like if you squeeze a bottle and you let it go, it's going to suck air back in.
Yeah.
So he's like essentially doing that, but sucking her nipple into his bottle.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I hear? A lot of waste. Wasting a lot of product.
I don't think we haven't even gotten to the product yet.
Oh.
Okay. So she's being very, very loud about how much she enjoys all of this. So Zinc in his little, like, I imagine him being in like a little jar, like, right?
Yeah.
Like a little cream jar.
I truly don't know what she is using Zinc for. And in my mind, I'm confusing it for like colloidal silver, the thing that people put on and just get incredibly sick.
Oh my
God.
God.
Their skin turns colors. And I know it's not the same.
That is not the same.
That's just where my mind is with that.
Well, I mean, like my grandma takes every vitamin under the sun and she's always like, you got to take your zinc. And it was also, I think, one of those things during COVID when people were like, take zinc and it'll help you not get sick. Like, I don't know. I just think it's like,
okay.
I feel like it's did you ever watch My Big Fat Greek Wedding?
Okay, I know this is bad, but no.
Okay. The dad puts Windex on everything. Like he thinks Windex is the cure for everything. And so I feel like that's how people feel about zinc.
Okay.
Just take it for everything, put it on everything. So he's like a jar, okay, of like kind of like a moisturizer jar.
Yeah.
And he decides to shut her up. So he brings himself up to her face and tells her to open wide. And he just drops into her mouth, quote, like a sleeping bag, feet first.
That's terrible.
He is like a gag or
what purpose does he serve?
Well, he's shutting her up because she's being so loud.
I feel like she's going to choke. How is she going to breathe?
Well, coincidentally, how he got into her mouth aligns his like, you know, because he went feet first.
Yeah.
So like aligns his legs and his penis against her tongue. So if she moves her tongue, she can essentially jack him off.
Okay.
We'll move on.
All right.
That one we don't have to worry about. He stays in there the rest of the time. Don't worry about him.
Okay. I hate that, but okay.
Meanwhile, the other guys are downstairs and Stick stretches his way inside her. Like his head is inside her.
Sure.
Yeah. Quote, he dives face first into my pussy, climbing into my vaginal canal like he's rock climbing inside a cavern.
That's a choice analogy.
Mm-hmm. All of these are choice analogies. All of them. Every single chosen one. Meanwhile, Spray and 69 are, quote, holding my feminine doors open for him.
Yeah, like they're storming a castle. Sure. Okay.
So after Stick climbs deep inside of her vagina to find the G-spot, he starts massaging it while not so dry, humping her vaginal canal.
Yeah, again, I'm not going to think about the mechanics because I'm not sure I'm tracking, but I'm happy for her.
I just think Stick so far up there and he's massaging the G-spot. Okay. I don't know why I imagine him just like patting the G-spot.
I was going to say you're like paddling.
Yeah.
Like a dog in the water. Yeah.
Okay. Meanwhile, 69 goes and starts giving her oral using that suction concept, but on her clitoris.
Yeah.
And then uses, because of the way he's lined up upside down, because he's doing 69 essentially. Yeah. Okay. His penis aligns with her belly button.
It's perfect. It's a match in the stars.
And I don't have the direct quote, but she does make a joke about like every hole being used, every hole possible being used. Okay. Including her belly button hole.
Sure.
Okay. Spray goes for the asshole and he spits on her or sprays, if you will, to lubricate the area before going in. Quote, Okay. Okay. Take a moment. Take a moment before what I'm about to say.
Okay.
Because remember, stick is in the vaginal canal.
Right. I've already lost where we're at, except the one in the mouth.
I'm surprised that you're stuck on the mouth. Mouth, he's up there. Okay.
Yeah, right.
69 on the clitoris. Okay. Stick in the vagina.
Right.
So Spray taps Stick on the butt to get his attention.
Yeah. Okay.
Because he's so far up in there.
Right.
Quote, he taps his buddy on the ass to let him know it's time for some synchronized swimming.
Great.
Great. So Stick pulls out enough to let them do a countdown so that they can dive into her butthole and her vaginal canal at the same time.
I'm so glad that they have choreography.
Quote, I can feel their hands inside me as they give each other a high five, the thin walls of my inside serving as the only barrier between their celebration. That is where I drew the line.
I'm starting to judge.
I just have to say that was the part where I was like, we didn't have to do that. I always feel like with these books, I kind of can figure out what's going to happen.
Right.
And especially when you tell me that 69 looks phallic, I think you're going to put him in the vagina, but apparently not. But then there's always a cherry on top.
Plot twist.
Yeah. He's doing the 69.
Right.
But I always feel like there's always a cherry on top that I'm not expecting. And this was the high five inside of her.
You know what, though? Guess what? That's an original idea.
So original. I bet
she should get credit for that.
Holly Wilde deserves all of the credit for this original concept.
I completely agree.
Okay, so these all have the jobs of the sunscreen, that they're doing to get her off. And when she finally gets off and has her orgasm, she essentially orgasms so hard that she pushes Stick completely out and he skips across the pool. It was so forceful.
That's a visual I can't get behind. I'm coming back around on this.
You know what? It's redeemed itself. Meanwhile, she's clenching her ass so much that Spray is stuck up in there, and 69 and Zinc have to run to pull him out.
Honestly, it would have been more fun if she had to go to the ER.
Explain this to your doctor, please.
Explain this.
Spray yells from inside her ass, quote, leave me in here so I can die a happy man. But Stick reminds him, quote, no way, you aren't due to expire anytime soon.
Oh,
so
sweet in a way.
Anyway, they finally get him out.
Yeah.
Post-sex, Summer is all pink from exertion, but her boys will not have her get burnt out on this hot day, of course.
Right.
And they also haven't gotten off yet. So they surround her and make her beg before they unload all that bottled up tension on her. And in this, Zinc goes to the side of her mouth and puts his penis in the crevice of the side of her mouth to get off to. What's that sigh? What's the sigh for?
Just keep going.
So obviously they completely cover her in their, quote, protection, but it's not over yet because they've got to rub it in, right?
Obviously.
They can't just have this wherever.
Right.
So she sees her bikini in the pool and decides to set the sunscreen on some towels so they can watch her while she takes another dip in the pool. But not until they remind her that she's covered for 1 more hour and she shouldn't put her swimsuit back on. The end. That is the entire story.
No notes.
No notes? Really? It felt like you had a lot of notes during our explanation.
Would I have thought about this idea at any point in my life? No. So I have to respect. I think I've complained to you several times that one of my biggest gripes in the world right now is nobody makes original things anymore.
Agreed.
So I cannot help but respect and lift up anyone willing to go out on a limb and do something original.
100%. And I didn't put this because I didn't want it to be spoiled. But at the very beginning, when I say that, there's no smut in the story, she says these are just 4 little guys with little penises.
Right.
But they make a big impact. And I'm like, you know what? Yeah, let's have some main characters with tiny penises.
Exactly.
Like, unobtainably tiny penises that you can't get off in any other way.
Yeah. Representation matters.
Micro penises matter.
Exactly.
Well, that is our story. If you were to just, we're not going to go through the scorecard, but I do want to just get an overall vibe. If you were to grade this smut book, what would you grade it as?
I would give it high marks. Okay. I'm saying a 4 or 5 stars.
Okay.
Because it set out to do something and it did it. She didn't promise, the greatest love story of all time. She didn't even say there was going to be a plot.
No.
Right? Like, I knew where the bar was.
Yes.
And I would say that she excelled.
I 100% agree. I'd say I'd give it a 4.5.
Yeah.
Overall. Oh, Luca's got an opinion too. Everyone in this house has an opinion. But he just decided, it's their dinner time. That is why he's yelling at me. But I have to say, the only reason I'm giving 0.5 off is I really I kept thinking that the roommate was going to come back or the friend was going to come back in.
No, that's why I'm saying I need the follow-up of her POV.
Or, I have to say, there has to be a secondary. She brings her towel in during her nap and, the towel becomes sentient.
Yeah.
There's a whole nother thing happen in her bedroom.
Right.
Gianna, what is your story? That's what we really want to know. Come forward with it today. We'll support you. But that is our book. Thank you, Maddison, so much for joining us. I really appreciate you stepping in and I'm so glad it was for this one. I'm so happy that you made it for this exact sentient romance because I feel like the bar was set high, right? With the light fixture.
Right. There's a lot of emotional depth to that one.
Yeah, we needed to keep running it up. Well, you can find us if you so choose on TikTok or Instagram at saysmutpodcast. Additionally, we'd love to hear your book recommendations. Send those our way via email at saysmutpodcast@gmail.com and pop us a rating or review on the podcast platform of your choosing. In the meantime, thank you again, Maddison, and stay smutty. Bye-bye.
Thanks. Bye.